I'll bring the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection, Finance, and Policy meeting to order. Today is Monday, March 7th, 2022, and it's 1:10 a.m. p.m., I guess. It feels like 1 a.m. to me, but it's... So today we have Senator Dahms has Senate File 3008. Senator Dahms, I understand that you have an amendment. Would you like to bring that amendment now? It isn't his amendment. Uh-oh. I don't see an amendment. Hang on.
Excuse me 1 minute, Mr. Chair. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would ask that we move the amendment to get the bill in the order that I'd like to present it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And what the amendment does, Mr. Chair, is it changes the effective date to following the final enactment.
Thank you, Senator Dahms. To all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senator Dahms, to your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and today we have Senate File 3008 as amended. Senate Files 3008 is a bill that deals with non-discriminatory sales of alcohol in the state of Minnesota. Currently, the state of Minnesota law states that states that distilleries can have some exclusive distributorships for products distilled in the state of Minnesota. Outstate products not distilled in Minnesota does not have that exclusive right. So what this bill does is takes away the exclusive rights for all liquor manufactured and distributed in the state of Minnesota, with the exception of wine and beer. So it's a pretty simple bill, certainly controversial, but with that said, Mr. Chair, we have several testifiers, so I would suggest that maybe we have the testifiers come up in order and give them 2 minutes, and then the testifiers, there's less testifiers that are testifying against it, so I think we need to give them more time. So with that said, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to call the testifiers up.
And thank you, Senator Dahms. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go 2 minutes for those that are for the amendment, and then those opposed will do 5 minutes. We'll give them a little more time. So first on the list is, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Sarah, Ms. Seck from Johnson Brothers, if you could please identify yourself for the committee and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Sarah Pasek. I represent Johnson Brothers, a family-owned company that's been in Minnesota since 1953, and thank you, Senator Dahms, for championing this bill. Before you hear from the Minnesota wholesalers and retailers in support of the bill, I wanted to just provide a little brief background and history related to spirits, beer, and wine wholesaling in Minnesota. As you know, the 21st Amendment, which ended Prohibition, granted the states the authority to regulate beer, wine, and spirits as each state saw fit. Across the country, you'll see a variety of types of regulations for the distribution of spirits. For instance, in 17 states, spirits are only sold by a state-run liquor store. These are often called control states, and the state is the wholesaler. Some states have franchise laws for the distribution of spirits. Some have exclusive contracts. And in Minnesota, we operate an open wholesale market for distribution of spirits. And my point is just that in the other 49 states, there's not one method that everybody else does it the same way. In Minnesota, the legislature passed the Coleman Act in 1973, which created our open wholesale market for spirits, which means that multiple wholesalers can sell each brand of spirit. And the law was upheld by the Minnesota Supreme Court and has been in place for almost 50 years. Senate File 3008 maintains open wholesaling for spirits as it exists today for spirits produced outside of Minnesota, and it will require open wholesaling for spirits produced within Minnesota. This ensures equal treatment of all spirits suppliers and equal opportunities for all spirits wholesalers. A recent federal study found that reducing opportunities for consolidation provides benefits to consumers, workers, and small businesses. Those benefits include more choices, better service, and lower prices for consumers through a competitive market, as well as fairer opportunities for small business and new entrants into the spirits market. Distribution of beer and wine follows a different regulatory model under Minnesota law, and with good reason. One of the main reasons is that those products have limited shelf lives and must be handled under controlled conditions as compared to spirits. You're all probably familiar with how breweries label their products with freshness dates and keep track of how old the product is. Because beer has a lower alcohol content and can go out of date relatively quickly, wholesalers commit to managing those conditions and maintaining a fresh inventory. When that happens, the distributor or wholesaler is responsible for picking up the product from the retailer, and then you want to know that you were the one who dropped it off. So the last point I just want to make is that we're here today because a lawsuit was filed in federal court after the legislature adjourned last May, asking the court to decide if the Coleman Act was constitutional or not. The question of whether the Coleman Act is constitutional is not what is in front of you today. The question today is just the policy on whether Minnesota should have open wholesaling or not, putting that decision back with you, the legislature. So I will wrap it up and get our testifiers going. There's a handout in your packet that shows support for Minnesota Wholesalers, Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association, Hospitality
Thank you.
Minnesota, and the
Thank you.
Minnesota Beverage
so-
Association. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Michael Johnson.
And Mr. Chair, I would suggest that we hold questions until we go through all the testifiers, and then if the testifiers would stay around, that way we can open up for questions after the testimony.
If you could state your name for the audio record and proceed with your testimony.
Great. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Michael Johnson. I'm the chairman and owner of Johnson Brothers Liquor Company. We're a Minnesota-based, family-owned wine, beer, and spirits distributor since 1953. We sell to every licensed bar, restaurant, VFW, American Legion, and retail liquor store in the state. Our family has lived in St. Paul for over 100 years. My grandparents, my parents, my family, myself, and my 4 children, all born and raised in St. Paul. And our headquarters are located just a few miles down the road on Shepherd Road. We employ over 900 fellow Minnesotans across the state. We deliver to every city and every town from International Falls to Worthington. The liquor laws that have been in effect in Minnesota for almost 50 years have worked extremely well for consumers and retailers alike. We've invested and built our business model based upon this law and have strived to provide great customer service and selection to our retail partners. Competition is good for Minnesota consumers and retailers. As you'll hear from our retail partners in the room today, this bill in front of you maintains competition in the spirits marketplace. Consolidation of the spirits market destroys competition. This bill is critically important for our business and that of other Minnesota-based spirit wholesalers, as well as our thousands of retail customers and the consumer. Under Minnesota's longstanding spirits open wholesaling law, Minnesota businesses and consumers enjoy vigorous competition, purchasing choice, quality service, and fair prices for distilled spirits. We're proud to be joined by many other Minnesota-owned businesses in favor of Senate File 3008. Many are here today to share the reasons why they too support this bill and healthy competition. We know our customers have a choice of where to buy their spirits from, and that motivates us to work hard each and every day. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to be here. I thank the chairman for sponsorship of the bill, and I ask for your support of Senate File 3008. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have, and I'm going to butcher this, David Gewalb from Bellboy.
Close enough. G-Wall. I know.
Please state your name for the audio record and And proceed with your testimony.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is David G. Wall. I am owner, co-founder of Bellboy Corporation. Bellboy has been a licensed distributor of liquor and wine since 1978. Bellboy is a Minnesota company located in Golden Valley in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. We currently employ 65 people consisting of 27 salespeople, 15 office employees, along with 16 warehouse workers and 8 truck drivers. Bellboy is a smaller distributor, but an important piece to the past 44 years. In August 1978, I personally took my propane forklift and unloaded our first truckload of nationally branded spirits. The Coleman Act had been recently enacted. I was the first to take advantage of the new open wholesale system. It was an opportunity. At the time, I was not aware as to the impact Bellboy would have on the liquor distribution business in the state of Minnesota for the next 44 years. Up to 1978, the liquor distribution business in the state of Minnesota was controlled by a few distributors who had exclusive arrangements with the major suppliers. In essence, these distributors had a license to steal. They had a monopoly. They were free of any competition. Competition was a dirty word. Prices were very high prior to the Coleman Act and prior to my company entering the Minnesota market. The Coleman Act created an open system where monopolies disappeared. Immediately, prices on the shelves at all Minnesota retail stores dropped $3 to $10 per bottle. Bellboy, through the support of Minnesota retail stores, Minnesota bars and Minnesota restaurants, became a significant factor in the Minnesota market. We stood for honest and competitive and fair pricing.
If you could wrap it up.
I'm sorry. Bellboy created a healthy, competitive market which directly enhanced retail buying power, which in turn benefited the Minnesota consumer. Our current system has worked for 44 years. We have built our own business model based on the open wholesale system provided by the Coleman Act. Without open wholesaling, the Minnesota consumer would be forced to face higher prices on the shelves, as well as higher prices at Minnesota restaurants and Minnesota bars. I don't have to remind you that Minnesota restaurants and bars cannot afford such dramatic increases. I have personally purchased, priced out, and sold liquor in Minnesota for 44 years. No one at this hearing today can say that. I've seen it all. We are all here today because of certain non-Minnesota companies, one from Chicago, one from Miami, Florida, cannot no longer feel the pain of competition. Plain and simple, they yearn for the good old days.
I hate to tell you, I gotta cut you off, or if you got a closing comment, one sentence or so, because we're way over.
Okay, I'll be fast, okay. The 65 employees at Bellboy need your support of this bill. Do not make me look into the eyes of each employee at Bellboy and tell them that the state of Minnesota no longer allows me to support them and their families. For most families, it could not come at a worse time. In addition, the industry needs your support. Small business needs your support. Following me will be retailers who will testify. Please listen to them closely. If the system ain't broken, there's no reason to fix it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Randy Trowbridge. Are you online or here? Okay. Well, thank you. Just state your name for the audio record and proceed with your testimony. Hang on a second. We must have a technical problem because we can't hear you.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, try it again. No?
No?
Is she muted?
This? Oh, wait. All right, let's try that.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
All right, thank you. My name is Randy Trowbridge. I am the manager of Fire Hall Liquors in Barnesville, Minnesota. Barnesville is situated about 25, 30 miles from the Fargo-Moorhead area, so we're up in the Red River Valley. We are outstate Minnesota. Fire Hall Liquors, along with many hundreds of other outstate small-town liquor stores, bars, and restaurants, are dependent on open wholesaling to keep our businesses open and profitable. Open wholesaling allows us smaller stores to get the best price without breaking our budget. We do not have the buying power that the larger big box liquor stores have. Open wholesaling allows us to shop around for the best price. In the past couple of years, with the pandemic, supply chain issues, and product shortages, we have had multiple occasions where we have not been able to get our product from our preferred wholesaler. And we've been able to get it by shopping around. Products such as Captain Morgan, Black Velvet, I have 3 different wholesalers I can get the product for at a comparable price. Because of this, we're able to keep our shelves full, our customers happy, and our communities and small towns thriving. In the last year, I've seen a drop in communication and services from the main distributor who is opposing this legislation. In the last 2 months, I have not seen nor heard from them. Last year, the only communication I got from that distributor was for them to tell me that my order was cut because it was a small order, that they were giving preference to the larger box stores. And other small town liquor stores were hearing the same. You know, we're small, but we're important. We keep our communities profitable. In closing, basically, all I would like to say is that open wholesaling is a vital lifeline to outstate and rural Minnesota. These small communities, we need that. Many liquor stores and bars and restaurants in rural Minnesota would have to close their doors if exclusive contracts were allowed. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll go to Jennifer, oh, I'm going to butcher this, come on. Shozite? If you could please state your name for the record and continue with your testimony.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Schonzeit Schoeller, Mr. Chair and members. 65 years ago, my father started Zips Liquor Store in Minneapolis, and today my brother and I own and run the store. Among the testifiers here today, you will hear many of us saying we are multi-generational businesses. As past president of the Minnesota Liquor and Beverage Association, I have traveled across the state and visited many liquor stores, bars, big and small. I can tell you we have very similar issues and we all fight the same fight. We struggle every day to provide the best customer service, stock our shelves with the products our customers want, to buy and provide the most competitive pricing. The advantage of open wholesaling is that I have a choice in the market when purchasing spirits. I can compare not only prices, but service selection by the wholesaler. The current competitive wholesaling market works for Minnesota's small business. Please do not change this. Please support this bill to ensure open wholesaling of spirits remains, competition continues. The system works for my business. And thank you for your support.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Mr. Fsberg from Devil's Advocate.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for hearing the testimony today. My name is Eric Fsberg. I represent a number of restaurants in downtown Minneapolis, as well as surrounding suburbs, including Devil's Advocate, Dan Kelly's Pub, Acapulco's restaurants, Eric the Red, and Broadway Pizza in Minneapolis. The abolishment of the Minnesota open wholesaling for distilled spirits is bad for Minnesota business. It's plain and simple. I'm sure it would be great for Florida business and Illinois business, because that's where we'd be sending our checks to if this goes through. However, I would prefer to keep my money in the state where I conduct my business with the people that support my business, like people from Bellboy and like people from Johnson Brothers. The result of abolishing the open wholesale would result in exclusive supplier relationships with most major brands. That in turn will lead to massive inflation in one of the most critical areas of our business. We're already experiencing massive inflation in every other area of our business: labor, equipment, food. We all know what's going on. They will try to convince you that the prices of our distilled spirits will not go up. I assure you they will. And there are plenty of models in other states that will prove that that is true. We have been dealing obviously with pandemics. That is, you're no stranger to any of it as well. We have been looted. We have been shut down. We've been losing money. We have lost our employees. We currently employ over 600 people in the state of Minnesota. This is an area that we cannot see go back up. If we see prices go up on our liquor side, I'm not sure that a lot of businesses in Minnesota will remain, especially after the hits that we have just taken. So we support the Senate File 3008, and we stand very strong behind this. Please ensure that that the Coleman Act remains in place. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Gary Bise from Rogers Wine and Spirits.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Gary Bise. I represent the city of Rogers and 230 municipal liquor stores throughout the state. I would like to tell you that I have been at your capital for many years, watching liquor issues very closely. And one of the singular things that I keep being reminded of by members of the Senate and the House of Representatives is that you are looking to retain a sense of parity in the market, and you're also looking to retain a free market. If you oppose this bill, you vote against the free market that you have attempted to establish for as long as I have attended committee meetings and sessions regarding the liquor industry. This bill will support a free market, which will provide low-cost pricing for consumers, low-cost pricing for retailers, and a choice for me to purchase distilled spirits from at least 4 distributors throughout the state of Minnesota. Liquor suppliers routinely provide preferential treatment and relationships with distilleries or with distributors in the state of Minnesota. We currently have that arrangement. This is called a primary source. Very often, it's unable for me to purchase from my primary source based on out of stocks and the inability of the distributor that I order from to be able to provide me with those distilled spirits products. So it's necessary for me to be able to go to one of the other wholesalers and shop to be able to keep my shelves full. Last year, our liquor department generated $500,000 in net revenue for the city of Rogers. The city of Rogers could not function without this revenue. We also have set aside $75,000 a year to provide for a new fire truck for the residents and public safety. Without your support of this bill, those funds will be in jeopardy. Imagine a world where you could only purchase milk from one store. And when you went to that store didn't have milk, but you didn't have the option to go to one down the street. If you oppose this bill, that's the kind of system that you're creating in the state of Minnesota. Please support the free market. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Dean Rose. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, House Committee members. My name is Dean Rose. I'm a third-generation retailer of Broadway Liquor Outlet in Minneapolis, and I've been running my family business since 1989. I want to express the importance of keeping the statute of open wholesaling in place for independent retailers and restaurateurs like myself. Currently, we have a statutory system that places restrictions on me as a retailer so that I can only buy from a handful of wholesalers in the state of Minnesota that sell intoxicating liquor. In fact, our statutes place strict and severe market restrictions on liquor retailers, including the right to negotiate volume discounts or join with other retailers to form collective buying groups. Yet for all the restrictions, the one bargain or benefit built into our system to help retailers is open wholesaling. Open wholesaling forces my suppliers to compete for my business. Since I operate in a very price-sensitive market, my margins are always under pressure to compete with other retailers. The current open wholesaling provision gives me the one benefit I need to compete on a level playing field against other retailers, especially the big box retailers like Target, Costco, and Total Wine and Spirits. My ability to have a free competitive market to purchase liquor from all suppliers is my only way to maintain my margins and put products on my shelves that allow me to survive as a family-owned independent retailer. My ability to run a profitable business ensures that I will continue to hire locally and reinvest my profits back into my community, not shipping these dollars out of state. Now we have Southern Glacier, the largest wine and spirits wholesaler in the United States with annual sales in excess of $21 billion, fighting against other wholesalers about a minor gotcha in the language of the Coleman Act relating to distilled spirits manufactured in the state of Minnesota that represent less than 1% of the annual sales revenues of retailers in Minnesota. 1%. Eliminating open wholesaling will create a monopoly for certain wholesalers that will only cause prices to rise and access to products to be limited and contingent on other factors dictated by the wholesaler who has the exclusive rights to those products. My opponents will tell you that siding with them will increase competition, but they will only be taking away competition. They are only competing against 5 other wholesalers. You have 10,000 independent liquor retailers and restaurateurs in the state of Minnesota. To put it another way, I am David and they are Goliath. You need to help protect the independent retailers, operators in our state, the backbone of our liquor retailers, not the country's largest wholesaler. You need to know that our current system works and is fair. It is a good, clean system. I strongly urge you to fix the language within the Coleman Act to keep open wholesaling as the status quo for all Minnesota liquor retailers. I'm happy to meet and discuss the issue with you in greater detail. Thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Paul Jacob. Please state your name for the record and continue with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Paul Jacob. My brother and I own 3 restaurants and bars around the Twin Cities. We've both been in and around this business our whole lives, as our dad started it when we were little kids, and we took over from there and built on from there. And this would just be very difficult on our business as we run tight margins already as it is in our restaurants and our bars. Adding onto this could potentially raise pricing, which is not something that we need right now, especially for how the past 2 years ongoing issues have been for us with this COVID. And, just ensuring that we can receive the best price and put competition against each other is crucial for us, as we do with all of our food programs as well. So we just wanted to come here and show our support, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Kirsten Lewis. If you could state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Lewis. My parents have owned and are a franchisee of MGM Wine and Spirits in Red Wing, Minnesota for 17 years now. I have worked for them for 14 years as the buyer and the store manager. I also have a unique perspective in that I'm in my 13th year bartending as well for Wiederholz, a 4th generation owned bar in Meesville, Minnesota. Supper Club in Meesville, Minnesota. Closing open wholesaling on liquor would have several profound effects on our industry, such as large price increases, availability, and the freedom to choose who we do business with. One thing about liquor is that there is not a lot of choice when it comes to everyday liquor items. I'm going to use one brand as an example, but many more could be used as well. Captain Morgan is a very well-known spiced rum that is more than likely available in every liquor store and bar in Minnesota. Captain Morgan is also available from a minimum of 4 wholesalers. Having multiple wholesalers that carry Captain Morgan ensures that there is competition on its pricing. On another level, Captain Morgan has no real competitors on the shelf. Yes, there is knockoff brands of spiced rum and higher-end spiced rums, but none that are synonymous with the name Captain Morgan. Closing open wholesaling would mean that one wholesaler would have exclusive rights to sell Captain Morgan, which, coupled with the fact that there is no shelf competition, would give that wholesaler no ceiling on their pricing. There would be literally no competition. Availability of product is another great area of concern for us. We all know that there are supply chain issues and a shortage of truck drivers and workers in general. The liquor industry has definitely not escaped this. When wholesalers don't have enough drivers and warehouse workers, deliveries get pushed further back and further back. One of my wholesalers had issues with this the entire summer, all the way through to the Christmas holiday. There were some instances that I didn't receive my delivery for over 10 business days after it was supposed to have been delivered. Having open wholesaling allowed me to order items that were out of stock in my store from other wholesalers and get those products back on the shelf for consumers to buy. Continuing with open wholesaling also allows our business the freedom to do business with those wholesalers that also desire and work to see that our business thrives and does well. There are wholesalers that come into our store, take an order, and leave. And then there are those motivated wholesalers that come in, stock, merchandise, build displays, and ask what they can do to help sell more product. The second kind of wholesaler is the kind of wholesaler I want and should be able to continue to buy my products from. When considering this bill, please take into account the small stores, the large stores, the bars and restaurants, and the everyday consumer who stands to lose the most if closing open wholesaling becomes reality. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Brad Radelius. And you've got more time. You'll have 5 minutes for your testimony. Just please state your name and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. My name is Brad Radelius. I'm the Executive Vice President of Breakthrough Beverage here in Minnesota. We also employ 380 Minnesotans throughout the state. We serve all the retailers, as someone said earlier, from border to border, basically from north to south and east to west. Breakthrough Minnesota was founded in 1882 here in St. Paul as Greg's Cooper and Company, and we've operated here since 1956 as a liquor wholesaler, one of the oldest continually operating wholesalers in the state. I mention this because some have hinted that the Coleman Act is desirable due to it helping a Minnesota company against out-of-state competitors. I'm not sure if that idea is relevant in the issue of regulation, but I can assure you that my company is just as much the local hometown company as anyone else. We oppose Senate File 3008 because it's not really good for our industry or consumers. In fact, the members of our state association are divided on this. 2 members support it and 2 members are opposed to it. It would be unprecedented for the legislature to pass major legislation affecting one tier of the 3-tier system when there is such deep division within the tier itself. Supporters of the bill have claimed that there will be less free market competition and higher prices for retailers and consumers. Neither of these claims are grounded in facts. These claims have been spread to alarm the retailers, who in turn tell you that their fear of higher prices for spirits and more difficulties for their business. First, let's consider competition. I can tell you that from my long experience working in this business and the industry, that all you need to do is look at the healthy and fiercely competitive spirit markets in the other 49 states, none of which have a Coleman Act like Minnesota. My company distributes beer and wine also in addition to spirits. In Minnesota, wine is sold to wholesalers at the option of wine suppliers, and beer is distributed by wholesalers selected by beer suppliers under the Minnesota franchise law. Under both of these scenarios in the open market, suppliers can choose to work with whichever wholesaler or wholesalers that they think will best and most efficiently distribute their products. When manufacturers and wholesalers have the freedom to enter into whatever arrangements they would like, whether open, preferred, or exclusive, the manufacturers are better able to hold the wholesalers responsible for the attentive, professional representation of their brands. That in turn means that there are stronger incentives for the wholesaler to service the retailers better. Next, let's consider the prices to retailers. Again, the experience in the other 49 states which do not have open wholesaling mandates show that prices outside of Minnesota are competitive. In fact, the prices in 49 non-Coleman Act states are so low that in some instances, Mr. Gewald's company, Bellboy, is able to bring thousands of cases of goods in from California, 1,500 miles away, and sell them here in this marketplace. And in California, there's an exclusive agreement with wholesalers there. RNDC and Southern compete against each other there. Here in Minnesota, pricing on all brands of beer and wine remain very competitive under the franchise law and the exclusive arrangements that we have under wine. The fact is that pricing on products and brands, whether it's fast food, dry cleaning, groceries, vehicles, or furniture, you name it, pricing is driven by competition amongst the brands. McDonald's versus Burger King or Wendy's, Pilgrim Cleaners versus Clean and Press, Cub Food versus Hy-Vee. In vehicles, it would be Chevys versus Fords. In beer, it would be like Coors Light versus Bud Light. In whiskey, it would be Captain Morgan versus any other rum, Bacardi. It could be whiskeys, Jack Daniels versus Jim Beam. The point is that it's normal and it's very healthy for brands to compete against other brands in the marketplace. The market will drive the pricing on virtually any commodity or product. The claim that exclusivity will suddenly cause prices on spirits to go up is not factual. Supporters of the Coleman Act and this bill also make another incorrect claim that without this act, service by the wholesalers for retailers will decline. In fact, as I said earlier, wholesalers will be held to a much higher level of accountability. As brands compete against each other to win the consumer, who has many business options, we, the wholesalers, must service our retailers and our brands with the highest quality to meet our supplier and retailer and the consumer's expectations. It is true that in our industry, unlike other industries, we've all experienced supply chain issues during the pandemic. The Coleman Act does not prevent or correct those issues by any means. Local and national accounts compete against each other to attract the consumers to their businesses. In doing so, this is what drives prices. It's not this unique Coleman Act that we have in Minnesota that accomplishes this. The Coleman Act and this bill work against free market. There is no sound policy reason to mandate open wholesaling for spirits, while beer and wine benefit from the free market, in which the manufacturers and the wholesalers are free to organize their relationships to the best and meet their business interests that they have in common and with the retailers and the consumers. I strongly urge this committee to not move Senate File 3008. I thank you very much for your time today and appreciate the opportunity to be here to testify. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have Soren Sanderson. Please step to the testifiers table and state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Soren Sorensen. I'm the Senior Vice President, General Manager of Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits in Minnesota. My company currently employs 217 Minnesotans that cover on and off premise accounts across the entire state. My company is also currently suing in federal court to strike down the so-called Coleman Act because it is unconstitutional. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety and the Attorney General's office agree. I understand there's a long-standing general practice for legislature to avoid amending laws under judicial review. For that reason alone, I would highly encourage the committee to not move Senate File 3008, with all due respect to Chairman Dahms. There are many other reasons to vote this bill down. The Coleman Act exists for one reason and one reason only: to give one wholesaler a significant and unfair advantage over other wholesalers in the same market. This bill, if it were passed, would do nothing to change that particular flaw. Furthermore, is the fact that the Minnesota Coleman Act is a complete anomaly in the landscape of liquor regulation throughout the country. None of the other 49 states have this law on their books, and there have been no efforts to pass similar legislation elsewhere. Ironically, the major wholesaler, which has benefited most from the Coleman Act over the past half-century and is advocating for this bill to allegedly solve the constitutionality problems, itself operates in 20 other states where they do not have Coleman Act-like laws. They do just fine without it. What does the Coleman Act do, and what would it continue to do to do even if this bill were to be enacted? It forces manufacturers to sell their product to every wholesaler. If I better represent a particular manufacturer's brand in the marketplace, why shouldn't the manufacturer be allowed to give me the business? That's how the free market is supposed to work, and precisely how it works with beer and wine currently. If this bill were to be implemented, the Coleman Act would continue to needlessly interfere in the manufacturer-wholesaler relationship in a way that does not apply in any other consumer product. Again, it does not apply to other forms of beverage alcohol, only spirits. Why is this? If the Coleman Act, the state's open wholesaling law, is so important and beneficial, especially to retailers and consumers, why aren't retailers and the other two wholesalers who have previously testified demanding that this committee expand the scope of the law to include beer and wine? And why stop there? Why doesn't the state of Minnesota apply the same open wholesaling policy to other consumer goods? Why don't you then mandate that every manufacturer is required to sell their products to any wholesaler who wants to carry their products? If you support this bill and the continuation of open wholesaling for spirits, then for consistency, you should prepare to require 3M, Ecolab, General Mills, and Toro, everyone else to sell to whomever wants to carry their products, regardless of whether a wholesaler will responsibly represent and support their products. There's a reason previous legislators haven't done this, and you aren't talking about doing things now. It is because mandating the kind of relationship which exists between manufacturers and wholesaler is a form of restraint on trade. It is anti-free market, and it is wrong. Supporters of this bill claim they are doing so to protect freedom of choice, but they have twisted the meaning of free market. The Coleman Act is a mandate, pure and simple. You cannot claim to believe in free enterprise if you force one party to do business with another party, or all parties. Let me make one final point. Retailers testifying today, and perhaps retailers who have contacted members of this committee, say their biggest fear is that the Coleman Act going away, prices will increase for retailers and consumers, but there is no proof. They have none. Look at an example. After Oklahoma a few years ago changed its laws a few years ago to allow for exclusive arrangements between suppliers and wholesalers, prices of spirits to retail and ultimately the end consumer went down, not up. They went down. Two wholesalers have been spreading baseless fears amongst retailers that the legal challenge to the Coleman Act would hurt them, but the experience of 49 other states' regulations of spirit markets suggests that those fears are totally false. In closing, members of the committee, I urge you not to move this bill. It specifically benefits one wholesaler in our state about a law found only in Minnesota and would impact only one form of beverage alcohol. The Coleman Act should only be revisited by the legislature after the federal courts have spoken. The same markets that are free for beer and wine wholesalers in our state should be equally as free for spirits across Minnesota. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
And thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll have Christy Brown.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Christy Brown. I'm the Senior Director of Government Relations for the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, more commonly known as DISCUS. We're the national trade association representing the leading producers and marketers of distilled spirits sold in the United States. DISCUS members are referred to as the first tier in our country's three-tiered system, and we supply our products to wholesalers and then retailers across the country. Laws regulating the alcohol industry really do vary state by state, but the Coleman Act in Minnesota is unique. No other state in the union regulates the spirits industry this way. SF 3008 would continue making Minnesota an outlier as the only state that doesn't allow a manufacturer to choose their own wholesaler. And I think that the previous testifier just mentioned in Oklahoma was probably the state that was closest to Minnesota, and when they ended what was essentially a requirement, the cost did not go up for the consumer. Our members appreciate and value our relationships with the wholesalers and also the retail tiers of our system. Allowing manufacturers and distributors to develop their own business relationships and contacts without state government dictating who and how businesses must interact with each other will create the best business environment for all involved, especially the consumer. Even the federal government, in its recently published report on competition, acknowledged that the laws that mandate which distributors a supplier must work with are bad for competition, and it encouraged states to explore changes to these laws to bolster competition. Manufacturers need to be able to protect and promote their brands as they see fit. This is a fundamental principle of business. They need to have the freedom to enter into distribution agreements which best advance their interests and their consumers' interests. The Coleman Act has disrupted the free market and we believe will be found unconstitutional by the court. SF 3008 is not the solution. It would simply allow this anti-free market interference to continue. In summary, that we ask you look behind the term open wholesaling or discrimination, which that may sound reasonable, but consider the full story. SF 3008 would mandate spirits producers and manufacturers to enter into business agreements with all wholesalers regardless of their business practices, reputation, or ability. We believe there's no public policy reason why the spirits industry should be treated differently than other manufacturers who are free to determine who distributes their products, including those in the wine and beer industries. And the fact that we would be treated differently than other folks in the same alcohol industry doesn't make much sense. I know you've heard arguments earlier regarding the beer industry, but that doesn't apply to the wine industry. And yet you are trying to treat these separate groups very, very differently. I thank you for your time today and your consideration, and we ask that the committee members oppose SF 3008. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify either for or against? Seeing none, members, questions? Senator Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Dahms, if I can ask you a question, since I know you have been involved with these issues quite a bit longer and more closely than I have. Has there ever been a bill introduced that would accomplish what the opponents are talking about? I know there's a lawsuit that was started last summer, but has there ever been a bill, to your knowledge, that's been introduced?
To my knowledge, since I've been the chair of the Commerce Committee, I have not seen a bill that would remove Minnesota's exclusivity, change the exclusivity laws in Minnesota so that the liquor that's not manufactured in Minnesota, right now, Minnesota does now allow exclusivity on that, and I have not seen a law that changed that. What the Coleman Act does is it says that distillers that produce product in Minnesota can have exclusive rights. And that's the piece that's being contended that's unconstitutional. So the best way, in my opinion, to change that is to take that piece out. And so when we talk about distributors in Minnesota that have had that exclusive right, they would now have to give that exclusive right up. We still would not be changing the exclusivity for products manufactured out state.
Senator Kent.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I thank you, Senator Dahms, for that perspective and expanding on the discussion about the bill. You know, we here in the legislature get a little territorial, I think. When things are there in our laws, we think we should be the place where we have these conversations and try to make the changes. So that is a very helpful answer to the question. And I would just say a very quick comment in listening to the testifiers, and I appreciate everybody making the trip to be here and to participate in this conversation. I am a survivor of the cola wars. In my former career in marketing, I had the distinction of being the media director for RC Cola. So I understand the power that a couple of large companies can have and the way they can restrict business opportunities for smaller products. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Senator Housley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have so many questions, and I have gone over these with the author. But probably the biggest one is this is the first liquor bill that we've heard since we passed Sunday sales. And we have been told that if there's peace in the valley with all stakeholders involved in the issue or the bill being produced or in front of us or in front of supposedly us, then we would hear the bill. And there's a long list of them from small breweries to distilleries, wine and beer and liquor store or in grocery stores. There's a long list of them. And all controversial, all have stakeholders, and then yet we have another one in front of us right now. Not only is it controversial, we had multiple testifiers on both sides, but this one is also in the middle of going through the courts. So I guess I have a difficult time when government is trying to get in the middle, as Mr. Radelius said. the legislature getting involved in one tier of the three-tier system, especially when it's in the courts right now. So I do have a question. I just am wondering, maybe Senator Dahms, can you explain which questions the court is considering right now, where this is at, and are we trying to push the courts in a certain direction?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that question, Senator Housley. It's my belief that in this situation that the legislative body has the right to determine our alcohol laws. Yes, this is in the courts. The piece that's being challenged is the constitutionality of Minnesota's exclusivity. That's what we're talking about doing today. And so I think that as a legislative body, we have the right to do that. You made some other comments that I'd like to go back to say that this is the only liquor bill that's been heard since the Sunday sales is incorrect. We heard a liquor bill last year. We've had other liquor bills. Now, they did not include some of the things you wanted, but that doesn't mean we didn't have a liquor bill. For the record, I want it straight that we have had liquor bills other than Sunday sales, and then that's not the last one. The other thing is to compare this to the liquor bills that you've requested. It's like comparing apples and oranges. This is totally different than what increasing the number of barrels for growlers. It's totally different than putting cans in small breweries. It's totally different than giving the restaurants to have the ability to sell cocktails out the drive-through. Those are totally different. But if you want to compare them, that's fine. And you and I have had this conversation, and my answer is the same now as it is then. And I'm certainly happy to take it offline and have further discussions, but I don't think we need to take a lot of time here today to have that discussion, but I'm certainly happy to do it offline. Thank you.
Senator Housley, follow-up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Dahms. If there was the one example of the man said that if you were selling milk, that you'd be forced, or they'd have the option to sell it at every single grocery store. But what if a milk producer just wanted to sell it at one grocery store? With a law like this, you wouldn't have that option. You wouldn't have control of your brand. And if you wanted to sell it to just Aldi's, you can do that, but you wouldn't under this law. You would be forced to open it up to everybody. I'm having a really tough time, Senator Dahms, in the whole free market principle of it. And we haven't had any proof that it would raise costs. If I could see, if somebody has any proof that this would increase it for our small businesses, for our restaurants, our bars, our liquor stores, I just haven't seen it yet.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Housley, thank you for those comments. And just keep in mind that lawnmowers, Toro was talked about, milk was talked about. Just keep in mind, milk and Toro lawnmowers are not controlled substances. So let's get that cleared out right away. The next thing, as far as competition, we don't know. I don't know. We've heard both sides. And so I haven't done the research to find out, and I doubt that you've done the research to find out. So what we're doing is we're basing our opinions on what both sides have said. I don't know what it's going to do to competition. I don't know that. I just know that it's changing the law much more drastic than what we currently have. And you know my stand on alcohol. And so therefore, with that stand, we go back to your first question, why are we doing this and we do some of the other things? This is changing the law on alcohol to change exclusivity and give exclusivity, which we do not have now in Minnesota for products manufactured out of this state, and it's adding that. So that's the problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator.
Senator Housley, follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have, just to address exactly what you were just talking about, Senator Dahms, I do have the A2 amendment. And Senator Dahms, I'm with you. I totally
Hang on
am.
until I get a copy of the
Okay.
amendment. And for the record, no, you're not with me.
Senator Housley, to the amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So what this would do, just listening to what was just said, but we don't know. We don't know if it'll increase the cost. We've heard both sides that it hasn't or it could. So this amendment would ask the Commissioner of Public Safety to convene an advisory task force to advise the Commissioner regarding the potential market, regulatory, and legal consequences associated with this proposed legislative changes to the Coleman Act. The task force would include a representative of the licensed alcoholic beverage importers, the beverage wholesalers, the beverage manufacturers, and a member of the MLBA, and a Minnesota consumer of the alcoholic beverages, and other participants that in the judgment of the Commissioner may lead to additional needed experience. And it would make the appointments for the task force by July 1st of 2022, convene the task force by August of 2022, and the Commissioner would report back January 15th, 2023. $25,000 is appropriated from the general fund to the Commissioner of Public Safety. And I think, that being said, it's been 50 years, so I don't know what another 6 months would be to try and get a study that could actually help me process all of this and give us some answers, take the Oklahoma. And what I was saying when I said I'm with you, I totally don't want there to be a monopoly and prices to go up for our liquor stores or our consumers, but I don't see the harm in studying it and seeing if there would be, or could we look at it a little bit deeper, since I keep hearing I don't know if they would go up. So I want to protect our small liquor stores, and I talked to Brian that owns, I won't say which one, in my district for a long time yesterday, and I get it. And I don't want our small liquor stores to be bullied by somebody either, coming in saying, if you want to get your Jim Beam from me, you also have to buy $5,000 of Kim Crawford wine. Like, that can't happen either. So is the system need to be completely reformed? But I'm not going to go touching any of that. But I think I don't see the harm in adding a few more months when it's already been 50 years to do a study.
Senator Dahms.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. And typically, when we do a task force, there's two types of task force. There's one where we really want to accomplish one, and there's the other one that just want to buy time so we don't have to vote. And so in this case, for several reasons, I do not support this creating a task force. I don't think that that's what we need to do. I think we need to move this legislation forward and take care of it today. So I would not support this amendment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Dahms. Senator Housley, are you moving the amendment then?
Mr. Chair, I will pull my amendment, and we can talk about it offline.
Thank you, Senator Housley. Any other questions? Senator Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that the amendment was withdrawn. I think it's an interesting idea. My concern is that it's a delete everything amendment. And so I think it's an interesting idea that we should pursue moving forward to talk about this. But, you know, I just want to say that deleting everything, I think, would be against the idea that is in the amendment. So.
Well, seeing no other questions, Senator Dahms, would you like to move your bill?
Mr. Chair, I move Senate File Number 3008 be passed and moved to the Senate floor.
Senator Dahms moves Senate File 3008 to pass as amended and sent to general orders. With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Senator Dahms, your bill is on its way. With that, seeing no other business before the committee, this committee stands adjourned.